The morning sunlight spilled through the curtains as I stood in our small kitchen, carefully preparing my wife's favorite breakfast. Pancakes, fresh strawberries, and a cup of hot coffee. It wasn't a special occasion, no birthday, no anniversary. I simply wanted to remind her how much she meant to me. My name is Ethan Carter, and for the last 8 years, my wife, Olivia, and I had built what I believed was a happy marriage. Life hadn't always been easy. Years ago, when Olivia dreamed of starting her own technology company, I was the one who encouraged her to take the risk. I worked 2 jobs while she attended business meetings, met investors, and built her dream from the ground up. There were nights when we barely slept. Days when our refrigerator was almost empty. Months when we wondered if we had made the biggest mistake of our lives. But together, we survived every challenge. Eventually, her company became successful. Very successful. Today, Olivia was the CEO of one of the fastest-growing technology companies in the city. I couldn't have been prouder. Even though she now earned more money than I ever could, she never made me feel less important. Or at least, that's what I believed. Lately, things had changed. She started working late almost every night. Business trips became more frequent. Phone calls ended the moment I entered the room. Whenever I asked if everything was okay, she would smile. Just work, Ethan. I wanted to believe her. Marriage depends on trust. And I trusted Olivia with all my heart. That Friday morning, while cleaning the kitchen, I noticed something on the dining table. Her lunch. She had forgotten it. I smiled. Perfect. She always complained that she was too busy to eat. Maybe today I could surprise her. Maybe we'd even have lunch together. I packed the lunch into a paper bag, grabbed my jacket, and drove toward the impressive glass tower where her company was headquartered. The building looked exactly like Olivia herself. Modern. Elegant. Confident. Employees hurried through the revolving doors carrying laptops and coffee cups. I parked nearby, took a deep breath, and walked inside. The lobby was breathtaking. Marble floors reflected the giant crystal chandelier hanging above. Large digital screens displayed the company's newest achievements. People in expensive suits moved quickly from one elevator to another. I felt slightly out of place wearing simple jeans and a casual shirt. Still, I smiled. I wasn't there for business. I was there for my wife. As I approached the reception desk, the young receptionist greeted me politely. "Good morning, sir. May I help you?" "Hi," I said warmly. "I'm Ethan Carter. I'm here to surprise my wife, Olivia Carter." She typed something into her computer. A moment later, her expression changed. "I'm sorry, sir. The CEO isn't accepting visitors today." I laughed softly. "That's okay. She doesn't know I'm coming." The receptionist smiled nervously. "I'm really sorry, but those are the instructions we've been given." I wasn't offended. Olivia probably had important meetings. "I'll just leave her lunch, then." Before she could answer, a security guard walked toward us. He was a tall man in his 50s with kind eyes. "Everything all right here?" The receptionist nodded. "This gentleman says he's here to see Ms. Carter." The guard looked at me carefully. Then he asked quietly, "You're Ethan?" "Yes." For a brief second, something crossed his face. Sympathy. Almost, sadness. He hesitated before speaking. "You should probably go home, sir." I frowned. "What do you mean?" He looked around to make sure nobody was listening. Then he leaned closer. "I don't think today is a good day." Confusion filled my mind. "I don't understand." The guard sighed deeply. Then he slowly lifted his hand. He pointed toward the executive elevators across the lobby. "She's not alone. My heart skipped a beat. What? The guard swallowed hard. She's upstairs. He paused. With another man. For a moment, the entire lobby seemed to fall silent. I stared at him, unable to process his words. Another man? No. That couldn't be right. Olivia wasn't like that. She loved me. Didn't she? You must be mistaken, I whispered. The guard looked genuinely uncomfortable. I hope I am. But I've seen them together many times. I felt the blood drain from my face. My hands tightened around the paper lunch bag. Maybe he was talking about a business partner. Maybe an investor. Maybe anything but what my imagination was beginning to suggest. I'm going upstairs. The guard stepped into my path. I wouldn't. Please move. His voice became softer. I'm trying to save you from getting hurt. Those words hit me harder than anything else. Save me? From my own wife? I walked past him without another word. The receptionist called after me. Sir. You can't go up there. I ignored her. The elevator doors opened. Inside, I pressed the button for the executive floor. Each passing second felt like an eternity. My heart pounded louder than the elevator's mechanical hum. Questions raced through my mind. Was Olivia hiding something? Why had the guard looked so certain? Could 8 years of marriage really fall apart without me noticing? The elevator finally stopped. The doors slid open. The executive floor was silent. Soft carpet covered the hallway. Beautiful artwork decorated the walls. Large glass offices overlooked the city skyline. Everything looked calm. Professional. Normal. Then I heard laughter. Olivia's laughter. The sound came from the conference room at the end of the hallway. I smiled despite everything. See? She was just in a meeting. I started walking. Halfway down the hallway, Olivia's assistant suddenly appeared. Her eyes widened. Mr. Carter. She looked shocked. What are you doing here? I brought Olivia lunch. She quickly stepped in front of the conference room door. I don't think this is a good time. The same words again. Not a good time. Why? I looked at her carefully. She couldn't even meet my eyes. My heartbeat grew faster. Move, please. I'm sorry. I said move. She hesitated. Then slowly stepped aside. My hand reached for the conference room handle. I could still hear laughter inside. One deep male voice. Olivia's familiar laugh. I took one deep breath. Turned the handle. And opened the door. The paper bag slipped from my fingers as everyone inside turned to look at me. What I saw in that room made my entire world stop. For one long, terrifying moment, I couldn't even breathe. For several long seconds, no one spoke. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the air conditioner. My eyes locked on Olivia. She stood at the front of the conference room wearing a navy blue business suit, looking as confident as ever. Beside her stood a tall man in his early 40s with silver hair and an expensive tailored suit. They had been smiling only moments before I opened the door. Now, both of them looked completely surprised. Ethan? Olivia whispered. The paper lunch bag hit the floor with a dull thud, spilling its contents across the polished wooden floor. The container of pancakes slid under the conference table while the coffee cup tipped over, leaving a dark stain on the carpet. I didn't even notice. My attention remained fixed on the man standing next to my wife. He looked at me with confusion rather than guilt. Still, the words of the security guard echoed in my mind. She's upstairs, with another man. I swallowed hard. So. I finally managed to say, this is why you've been working late. The executives sitting around the table exchanged nervous glances. Olivia took a step toward me. Ethan, this isn't what you think. I let out a bitter laugh. Isn't that what everyone says? The room became even quieter. The silver-haired man spoke gently. I think I should leave. No, I replied sharply. I'd actually like to know who you are. He extended his hand. My name is Daniel Brooks. I didn't shake it. Olivia sighed. Daniel is the chairman of our board. I looked at Daniel from head to toe. Chairman? Maybe. But that didn't explain why everyone suddenly looked uncomfortable when I arrived. It didn't explain why the receptionist tried to stop me. Or why the security guard warned me. I looked back at Olivia. Can we talk? Alone. She nodded immediately. Everyone, let's take a 15-minute break. The executives quickly gathered their laptops and quietly left the room. Within seconds, only Olivia and I remained. Neither of us spoke. She walked toward the spilled lunch and knelt to pick up the container. You made pancakes. Her voice sounded almost emotional. I remembered they're your favorite. I crossed my arms. I also remembered you're my wife. She slowly stood. Ethan. No. I shook my head. I've spent months telling myself everything was fine. You've been working late. You've hidden phone calls. You've canceled dinners. You've skipped weekends. And today a security guard tells me you're with another man. She closed her eyes for a moment. The security guard? Yes. He thought he was protecting me. Olivia looked genuinely shocked. Oh no. What do you mean, oh no? She rubbed her forehead. This is all a misunderstanding. I wanted to believe her. More than anything. But doubt had already found its way into my heart. Then explain. She took a deep breath. Daniel isn't just the chairman. He's also leading a confidential merger between our company and another international corporation. I remained silent. The entire project has been under strict confidentiality for 6 months. We've worked almost every evening. If information leaked, thousands of employees could lose their jobs. Her explanation sounded reasonable. Yet something still didn't feel right. If that's true, why didn't you tell me? She looked down. Because I signed a legal agreement. I wasn't allowed to discuss it with anyone. Not even my husband. She looked ashamed. I hated keeping secrets from you. But breaking that agreement could have destroyed everything we've built. I stared at her. Part of me wanted to accept every word. Another part remembered every lonely dinner. Every cancelled plan. Every sleepless night. Trust, once cracked, isn't easily repaired. Just then, someone knocked softly on the conference room door. Daniel peeked inside. I'm sorry to interrupt. Olivia nodded. It's okay. Daniel looked at me. I think I owe you an apology. I frowned. What for? He stepped into the room. When your wife talks about you, she speaks with incredible admiration. I blinked. He continued. She tells everyone that without you, this company wouldn't exist. I looked at Olivia. She avoided my eyes. Daniel smiled kindly. She still keeps a photo of the two of you in her office. Every important decision she makes. She says she asks herself one question. Would Ethan be proud of this? I felt my anger weaken. Daniel continued. The problem isn't that Olivia doesn't love you. It's that she's been trying too hard to protect everyone. He looked toward Olivia. Especially you. I took a deep breath. If everything is fine, Then why did everyone downstairs react like I'd discovered some terrible secret? Before Olivia could answer, Daniel sighed. Because of the rumors. Rumors? He nodded. People see the CEO and the chairman working together late every night. They assume there's something personal. They gossip. I've ignored it. But apparently, the rumors reached security. Suddenly everything began making sense. The security guard hadn't actually seen anything inappropriate. He'd believed office gossip. And because he thought he was helping me, he accidentally planted doubt inside my heart. Olivia walked closer. Ethan. I should have trusted you enough to tell you that work would become difficult. I couldn't explain the project. But I could have explained how I was feeling. Her eyes filled with tears. I've missed you every single day. I felt something inside me soften. I've missed you too. She smiled sadly. I know. Before either of us could say another word, Olivia's phone rang. She answered immediately. Her expression changed. What? When? How bad is it? She hung up. Daniel immediately noticed. What happened? Our servers. They've been hacked. The color drained from Daniel's face. That's impossible. Our cybersecurity team just confirmed it. The merger documents are at risk. Within seconds, the calm atmosphere disappeared. Executives rushed back into the conference room. Phones rang non-stop. Employees hurried through the hallway. Someone wheeled in extra computer monitors. Another person shouted instructions. The company had suddenly entered crisis mode. Olivia looked torn. She turned toward me. I'm so sorry. I have to deal with this. I nodded. I understand. She grabbed my hand before leaving. Please don't leave. I'll explain everything tonight. I promise. Then she hurried out with Daniel. I stood alone in the conference room. For the first time that day, I actually believed her. Maybe I'd been wrong. Maybe trust meant believing someone even when circumstances looked suspicious. As I bent down to collect the spilled lunch, I noticed something lying beneath the conference table. A black envelope. No name. No company logo. Curious, I picked it up. It was sealed. I looked toward the hallway. Everyone was distracted by the cyber attack. No one seemed to be looking for it. For a moment, I considered handing it to Olivia immediately. Instead, I slipped it into my jacket pocket. Something about it felt important. Very important. I had no idea that opening that envelope later would uncover a truth far more shocking than the rumors, the long nights, or even the cyber attack. A truth that would change both our lives forever. If you're enjoying this emotional story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kindness of Park Story. Your support helps bring more inspiring and suspenseful stories like this to life. To be continued in Part 3.